Hey there, it's Karen Wagner here. Just wanted to share with you a parenting tip. So today I want to talk to you about praise versus affirmation. So here's the difference. Praise is a positive statement about your child's behavior, when they did something well. And you may say things like, good job, or fantastic, or that's incredible, or perfect. That's praise. Now, affirmation, on the other hand, is approval for just being you. There's a little bit difference there. So many times I see kids who look at each other and compare. I mean, they compare their looks, they compare their clothes, they compare their athletic ability, their smarts, their social status. I mean, I could go on, but you get it, right? And they start to lose their self-esteem, their value, and their worth when they continue to compare themselves, especially in the social media world. And then we, as parents, we continue to direct and correct. And what we're doing is we're adding to their feeling of, I'm just not good enough, or I'm not capable. I mean, do you know that it takes 7 positive statements to undo the damage of one negative thought or comment? Wow, 7 positive statements to undo one. How much stuff is coming in at them on a daily basis? And we have to undo that mess, right? So kids need to be receiving these deposits to offset that negativity in their minds. So to really make that connection, I want to talk to you about how to affirm your child based on their personality style strengths. So not just good job or I love you. I want you to be more specific. So let me give you a couple of suggestions on what that may look like. So here we go. For our outgoing, task-driven, dominant style personality, I want you to think about saying to them, for instance, I notice you have a lot of confidence in yourself. And you know what? They usually do, right? And that's just really connecting with who they are at the heart of their being. Now, if you were to say that at our shy, supportive style, they may look at you a little confused because you know what? They are indecisive. They second guess everything. And you're saying that I'm confident. Deep down inside, they're thinking, I'm not really confident. I question everything. And you will misconnect with that child. So you need to know your child and know how to use the right words. Now I'm going to get the supportive style in a minute, but I just wanted to make that point that we really need to be genuine in what we're saying and affirming who they really are, getting to the heart of your child. So let me give you another statement for the dominant style. You may say to them, I notice that you know what you want. And when you do, you go after it. I notice that about you. Or you may say, I notice that you're able to handle things on your own. I notice that. They're very independent, right? Or you may say, I notice that you get results and you get things done. You know that these are strong, independent kids and you are affirming them for who they are. So now let me give you a couple of suggestions on how you could affirm our more outgoing, people-oriented, inspiring style. Now you may say to them, I notice you have a lot of enthusiasm. It is so contagious, but I notice that about you. Or you may say, I notice that you have a wonderful sense of humor. Or, I noticed you're a great storyteller. I noticed that. And you know what? They are great storytellers, aren't they? Because their stories just grow and grow and grow and grow. Now, I know these kids can be a handful because of their energy, because they're all about fun and interacting with others. But affirm them, embrace that, and let them know what you love about them, just because of who they are. Now let's take a look at our more reserved, people-oriented, our supportive style. Now you may say to them, I notice that you're a caring person. I notice that. I mean, this is my daughter's style. And I was talking with her this morning and I just said to her, how much of a good friend she is. She was doing something for a friend that was kind of a little bit more support than maybe she normally would have done. But I just said to her, you are such a good friend. I notice, Anna, you are such a good friend. Or you may say to them, I notice that you check things out before you jump in because, they take their time and think things through. But notice that about them. I notice that. You may say to them, I notice that you like to do things step by step. I notice that. So what you're doing is you are affirming who they are at the core of their being, and they feel valued and understood because of who they are, not just good job, right? Now let's take a look at our more reserved and task-driven, our cautious style. Now you may say to them, I notice that you like to keep things organized. I notice that. And they do, right? You may say, I notice that you're always trying to do your best work. I notice that. Or you may also say to them, I notice that you like to think about things before you decide. I notice that. I just shared with you some affirming statements that you could share on your kids based on how they're wired, which truly gets to the heart of who they are. And truly, our kids get so many negative messages everywhere. And we need to be sure that they're hearing the positive messages from us, affirming them for who they are and the strengths that they possess based on how they're wired. Now, here's a suggestion. I want you to consider sharing a few of these statements a couple of times a week. Just finding opportunities. Maybe it's while you're cooking dinner or having dinner, or maybe you're in the car driving somewhere, and just bring it up. You're making deposits into their love banks and building their self-esteem. You know, most people want to be around others that make them feel good. So a little less directing and correcting this week and a little more noticing. But now let me share with you an experiment of how this can be a win-win, a parenting win. I love parenting wins, don't you? So like I said, I want you to use these affirming statements a few times a week for a few weeks. Then when you run into resistance with your kids, and maybe you need a chore to get done, or maybe they're not getting their school assignments done, and they're just flat out giving you a hard time, this is what I want you to ask. Would you mind doing that just for me? Thanks. Or if they're doing something you don't want them to do, like they're arguing with their brother or sister, you could say, would you mind not doing that just for me? Thanks. In both instances, the thanks assumes the compliance. Now, let me tell you, this may not work every time, but I have used this in my home, and I'm sharing with you my parenting wins, that when I find that I'm getting disconnected and in friction with my kids, I began to apply these I notice statements and finding positive things about affirming just who they are, not what they do, but who they are. And it really did make a difference. And so when I'm getting resistance, you know, oh, Mom, I don't want to run the vacuum cleaner. I know. Would you mind doing it? Would you mind just doing it just for me? And can I tell you, when I get off the sofa and get the vacuum cleaner, I'm like, parenting win. Okay. So give this a try. This is a love and logic skill that we teach to educators and parents as a way to connect when you're having challenges with your kids. So I want you to give it a try this week, and I want you to let me know how it goes in the comments below. Go and enjoy the journey. We'll see you soon.